Alright, so this video is about the craps game. And craps game is it's a lot of fun. Probably the most fun you're gonna have in the casino, but there are also issues with the craps game. Okay, it's for some reason it attracts undesirables that like to they like to bully around and stuff. They keep throwing sevens, but if you throw one, oh God, you know, and you just have to be tough. Don't let them chase you away. Okay, anybody, I don't care how great of a shooter you are, anybody can just throw a seven, especially the advantage players like us, because we don't like to go to the same casino every night. Now these people that act like big shots, they go to that same casino. They probably don't even have a car, use a bus pass, and they go there and you can tell who they are. They just sit there all night trying to make $20, So, so what happens if you're playing the same table night after night? Then you're gonna figure out how to throw the dice. So, but the point is, these people are so ignorant that they've been there for months and years. They still keep throwing sevens. But we can't do that. We need to go around different, because we don't want to make a big scene. We don't want the casino employees to see us all the time. So it's a little more difficult on us, because we're constantly dealing with new tables, and the tables change also. Casinos, without informing you, all of a sudden get a table that's longer. So now you have to figure out how to throw it correctly, So, and then the way they maintain the tables and the way they clean them can make all the difference in the world. So our job is a little more difficult than the average person that goes to the same casino every night. But that's what our training is for. There's no sense training a person to throw the dice, 6 or 7 times and then throw 7. That's not going to make you any money, And it doesn't make sense to train someone to throw dice in, good conditions. What good is that going to do? The key is how do you do an hour roll under the worst conditions? Okay, so that comes with not just practice. Practice is only part of it. A major part is knowing how to switch your techniques. One technique may work for this type of table. If it doesn't work, you can't just keep throwing 7 using the same technique. You have to change your technique. The way you throw, your dice setting, all that stuff is going to make a huge difference. So our main thing right now is, in this video anyway, is to point out the problems so that you're aware of them and you can solve them. Instead of getting frustrated, that's not going to do you any good, right? Getting frustrated and walking away, sometimes going to a different table could help, because they've messed with the table you're playing at, and you just can't get a decent shoot. So yes, sometimes going to a different table could help, and you see that all the time. The players, switch tables. But getting frustrated and doing the same thing over and over on that table, you're already an accomplished shooter. Now, it's possible that you made a mistake, you didn't have your technique done correctly. Of course, that's possible. So then, next time you grab the dice, you do it correctly, but you still throw 7. So what does that tell you? There's a problem with the table. Okay, it's not a problem. If you've been doing it for years, and all of a sudden you can't throw, and you'll see that. with players that come to that casino. They've been coming for years, and all of a sudden they can't shoot anymore. So what happened? Well, that's what we do in this course. We tell you what happened, but more importantly, how do you resolve it? Okay? So that's our main objective of these videos. First of all, we need to establish something here, that in the craps game, the only person you invest in is yourself. Okay. Now, we're not saying you should not invest in good shooters that you already know. Of course, why not? But you have to understand that they might be good shooters, sure, but are they good shooters of the past? Just because last time you saw them shoot really good doesn't mean they're going to do it this time. Like I said, the tables change. And some people call it been rigged, or whatever you want to call it. Point is, whatever it is, you can't put too much money. You can't invest too much on great shooters. And you certainly can't invest in people that you don't even know. You know, some of these people come to the table, they're just there to have fun. You know, they just want to drink alcohol and just, you know, it's a party to them. But you're trying to make a living at this. So how could you invest in someone like that? Because you know it's just a matter of seconds before they throw a 7, right? And even good shooters. Okay, so that's the other part of this training, is you have to have a bidding system that has some sort of an insurance, so that if a person quickly throws a 7, you know, you can recover, you know. And actually, even when you throw the dice yourself, we still work on a strategy where it has insurance. And as you throw, then you can increase your bets. And once you get your money back, you know, you lay out a certain amount of money. And then once you throw some numbers, you get your money back, then you're winning based on, basically, you're playing for free, right? Because you got your money back already. And then, you know, just typical thing where, you know, the free money, you just keep reinvesting, you know, on your own. So, you know, we'll go over that stuff. But one of the things that we all run into is you're sort of battling with, you know, with basically people that lose a lot on the craps table. And these are usually people that try to learn shooting techniques and they just couldn't do it, you know. So now they believe it can't be done. In fact, a large percentage of people, or I would say 80-90% of forums and people I've talked to, believe there's no such thing as dice set, and there's no such thing as shooting technique. Well, I hope that they, I mean, have they ever heard of a sports figures? I mean, why sign a $20 million contract with someone that throws the basketball or baseball? It's a sport just like the rest of them. It's no different. It's just that people are not willing to put in, you know, years into it. It takes many years to learn how to shoot dice, just like it takes many years how to shoot basketball to become a pro. You're actually a professional athlete when it comes to a craps game. And if you take any of the professional athletes, you'll see that they probably started when they were like 12 to 14 years old. And it took them 10 years of intense practicing to the point where they get bruises. And, you know, they baseball players, they go in there and practice 100 bats, and then, you know, they got bruises all over their hands, and they do another 100. This is what it takes. If you're not willing to do that, then maybe find another game, because you're constantly going to lose. That's what's going to happen, because other people at the craps table, I mean, some nights you're going to find people that just are shooting great, But then how do you know that? How do you know? I mean, what do? You risk $200 right at the come out roll, and then what if the person throws a 7? You just lost $200. Okay, so the only person you invest in is yourself. Why? Because you've been practicing every day, you know, and you're confident in what you're doing, and that's something that you not only practice, but you constantly have to update yourself. And that's why we do here. When we see new techniques that are coming out with casinos, and the way when they change their tables, they make it longer or shorter, or if they use certain techniques to rearrange the table, well, that can cause a lot of 7s to come out. There's no other reason. If a person's been shooting for years, fantastic shooter, and then all of a sudden they keep throwing 7, and there's multiple people that's happening to, and it's interesting how a lot of 7s come out after a big night, where the casino paid out $50,000 or $100,000 on the table, and then all of a sudden for the next following few days or weeks, nobody can make a point. Everybody keeps throwing 7. Isn't that interesting? So, there's new, and these are 100% legal. A casino can legally replace the table or change the table around. There's nothing illegal about it. So, there's no sense reporting them because they're not going to find anything. But what you need to do is you need to investigate and find out what they've done, and you have to figure out how to overcome that problem. And that's what we do here. Okay, so we have samples of these situations in some of our other videos, as well as the paid section, and it goes over what to do in these situations. So that's our job. We have to be able to overcome these problems. That's where it's just like the athletes. When they start playing, they hire professional coaches. For what reason? Why would you even need a coach if the person's a great basketball player? Well, the coach is there to analyze the conditions. That's the coach's job. Okay, realizes that when the team plays in the cold weather versus hot weather, rainy, this, that, conditions, that they have a hard time with this, they have a hard time with that. And his job is to analyze these and tell the players what to do in the condition. When it's raining, this is how you play. When it's snowing, this is how you play. And it's the same with the cracker. You need coaching because you're too busy, like an athlete. You're too busy doing what you're doing, and it's hard to be an athlete and a coach at the same time. So that's what we do here. We try to figure out what the problem is, what kind of problem you're running into, and we'll either make a video how to overcome that problem, or sometimes we're able to do it through a Zoom meeting, or even text. Sometimes when you read the text, you might catch on. And then we discuss this. We have a little group that, we've been going to casinos up to, one guy has been going to casino for 40 years now. And how do you learn? You learn from someone that's been going there for 20, 40 years. That's how you learn. Because they've seen every possible, and then they've learned from other professionals. They've studied, they've read every book, they've watched every video. This type of casino business is based on mathematics and physics. And if you try to turn it into some kind of a, ignorant or uneducated game, then it's going to be real tough. You're going to spend all your money in there, and you're never ever going to show any profits, So to get the best out of this program, our suggestion is to forget everything you've read in these, maybe some books or some forums or whatever, that It's all random. It's unfortunate that people think that way, you know. And some people say that on purpose, you know, because they're fantastic shooters and they don't want anybody else to shoot like them. I don't know why, because the more good shooters we have, the more money we're going to make. I don't know why they, in these forums, they say, oh, it's just all random crap. It's just, you know, undereducated crowd is just in this game is just amazing, you know. So you need to forget all that stuff about being random, and you know, there's a lot of techniques, not just playing, but also, you know, betting strategy is extremely technical, and also how to handle the table, you know, other players, how to deal with other players, how to deal with the dealers, with the casino, all that stuff we do cover in the paid section. But briefly, what we could say here right now, quickly, is personally, I don't think it's a good idea to make friends at the crap table, because you don't know who the person is, and you do get rough people in there. And what they do is it creates, you know, you don't want to stress. You don't want any stress, because the stress, mental stress, will become a psychophysiological. In other words, your brain is going to affect your physiology. You know, you're not going to be throwing as well. You know, so I would just not get friendly with anyone. Just, you know, kind of go in there, do your own thing, and respect the table rules, such as, you know, don't try to throw your money when someone's throwing the dice. And, you know, this is the only game in the casino where we suggest tipping. If you don't like to tip, then maybe piggyback on your betting, you know, so when you win, you know, you only put $1 up, and the casino makes $8, you know, so basic things like that. We go over that stuff too. But for right now, you know, before you walk up to the table, make sure your position is open. You know, you don't want to be in a position, if you're throwing from the right side, you know, you don't want to get on the left side because you're not used to that, right? So wait until your position opens, you know. And when the position opens, you got to jump in, right? But what you could do is we show you how you can make minimum bids where the casino doesn't get funny with you, because you're taking a space and you can't just sit there and wait for your turn. You have to bet something. So we go over that stuff, because again, when you're playing, you don't have time to think about this stuff. Someone else needs to point these out to you. You know, you can call it a manager, you can call it a coach, or whatever you want to call it. So these will be helpful in saving you money. So we have the paid section, and we have a lot more free. We just started this, so we'll have a lot more videos coming up. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you.